And wub 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 wub. There's the intro. I hope you enjoyed it. That's where the production value on this series has gone. It's gone through the roof. I now have a dubstep intro. But yeah, it's another episode of how to make every NBA team not suck. We're going to do the Eastern Conference Central Division. We're going to start with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Obviously, they're not doing that much wrong. I mean, Kevin Love's going to walk, which is going to give you a decent amount of money in cap space. You want to re-sign Tristan Thompson. You want to re-sign J.R. Smith if he declines his player option. You want to re-sign Shumpert for a solid like $6 or $7 million. And you want to pick up Mozgov's team option. At that point, you're good, man. You're the Cleveland Cavaliers. You have LeBron James. You got Kyrie Irving. Easy. You guys are done. Now, the Chicago Bulls are a bit more interesting. I'm all for the firing of Tom Thibodeau because while Thibodeau is a good coach, the things that he's bad at are pretty much deal breakers. He plays his guys way too many minutes. He's stubborn with rotations. And his style just gets old after a few seasons. That being said, he's a great defensive mind, and he is a great motivator of players. Now, what does Chicago need to do from a personnel standpoint? You need to re-sign Jimmy Butler immediately. Make sure he is on this roster for the next 5 years, and I don't care how much money it takes to make it happen. Next, and this is going to be tough, you probably have to trade Taj Gibson, because you have to improve at the wing. Now, luckily, Jimmy Butler can play shooting guard or small forward, so that definitely gives you some breathing room when it comes to making a trade. But you got to move Gibson, because you can't trade Gasol. You have to assume Noah's going to be healthy, and when Noah's healthy, does anybody remember top 5 in MVP voting? And you can't give away Mirotic this early in his career. So, you trade Taj Gibson and you need some scoring on the wing. Well, I'm not going to lie to y'all. Looking at the list of shooting guards and small forwards in today's NBA, there's no perfect trade. There's not a move that says, oh, that guy definitely needs to get traded and he's the perfect guy for the Bulls. I mean, Chandler Parsons isn't getting traded. Wesley Matthews is a free agent. I mean, your best bet is taking either Gallinari or Eric Gordon. That's not exactly a perfect deal for the Bulls. So I think your best option with trading Gibson for some scoring talent off the wing is probably to take like 80 cents on the dollar and get a plethora of guys who can help you out, as well as give McDermott more minutes. Or you could just run with Mike Dunleavy. I just think with the decline of Derrick Rose, you need more of an all-around scoring perimeter. You know, you can't use Derrick Rose to make up for the fact that Dunleavy can only score when he's wide open. So there's just no perfect trade out there, unfortunately. Another one I could see is trading Gibson to the Kings for Ben McLemore. It kind of works, but like McLemore only averaged 12 points last year. You'd be assuming he'd jump up to like 16, and you don't know if that's going to happen. And the reason I say all this, of course, is because they don't have the cap space to sign a free agent. Next, the Milwaukee Bucks. Great job by Jason Kidd this season. Who saw that coming? They're going to have to re-sign Chris Middleton, which is going to put them at about $60 million. I do think that's going to happen. For all the times that I say, these guys should sign Middleton, I do think he'll end up re-signing. So they'll have about $10, $11 million left in free agency. At that point, I think they need a center, like a real center. John Henson, I don't know. Miles Plumlee, I don't know. I think Omer Asik, maybe Tyson Chandler, maybe Robin Lopez. I think those are all viable options for them at the center position. Next, the Indiana Pacers. In a perfect world, Roy Hibbert and David West would decline their player options and West would re-sign for like $6 million, and then you tell Hibbert to go F himself. That's not going to happen. They're both going to stay. So you're not going to have too much salary cap left. You'll have about $10 million, depending on how much the cap rises, of course. I think Indiana needs to improve at the shooting guard position. Now, Wesley Matthews is interesting because, I mean, he had the injury, so you'd have to be willing to wait for him. But before, he was probably going to go for like $16 million. Now, you might actually be able to afford him for $10 million, given his injury. But if you want something more immediate, there's Danny Green, Eric Gordon. Actually, no, not Eric Gordon. He's got the opt-out. Maybe Aaron Aflalo. Like, there are some options. I think Wesley Matthews is the best one. It's just, you'd have to be willing to wait like a full season. Honestly, this offseason, I don't know if Indiana's going to do much, but next year, oof. Because Hibbert and West are going to be off the cap. Oh, they're going to kill it then. They're going to be signing everyone to play with Paul George, and it's going to be beautiful to see. But this offseason, there's not too much to do for them. By the way, I really like Solomon Hill, their first-round pick, moving forward. And finally, and this is a little ironic, the Detroit Pistons. So, the Pistons are going to have a crap ton of cap space, and I'm pretty sure Greg Monroe is not going to be re-signing. And I actually think that might be a good thing. I think the best power forward next to Drummond would be a stretch 4. Now, they already have one on the roster in Anthony Tolliver, but he's not the perfect fit. I think the perfect fit next to Drummond would actually be probably Kevin Love in free agency. Hey, that's a real thing. Like, they have a lot of cap space. Love would make sense. He's probably going to LA, but maybe, if not him, Paul Millsap. That's another name. That's a possibility. Another name that I could actually picture is Brandon Bass. The reason I'm hesitant on that one, though, is because Stan Van likes guys who can shoot threes. And if I go down the list of power forwards who are going to be free agents this offseason, you want to take a poster on Andrea Bargnani? Because I don't. Next, you got your Rebko. I suggested him for Charlotte. Maybe your Rebko would work for Detroit. And then besides that, what's probably going to happen is Brandon Jennings or Reggie Jackson are going to win the starting point guard job, and then the other one's going to complain and want to get traded, and then they could trade that guy for something good. That's what's going to happen with the Pistons. So that's it. Again, I was planning on putting out like a Pistons video today, but if you saw the video earlier, then you know what happened with that. Should be nothing but 2K vids the rest of the week. And that's it, y'all. I'm done.